Hello, everyone, and welcome to IELTS Insider. My name is James, and today we are going to be practicing our listening skills. And we're going to be looking at two types of questions that come up on the listening test today. Those are multiple choice questions and also matching style questions. So, in today's lesson, we're going to be looking at two examples of those types of questions. I am going to be reading through the text, and you're going to be trying to answer some of those questions. Now, what is going to be important today is looking at the types of questions, reading them, and trying to find the keywords and the important information that we need to process before we actually listen to the text. So, that is what we'll be doing. We'll be doing a short introduction to IELTS listening, some practice, and some questions and answers at the end. And today we've got a very short homework. I'm just really looking for your opinions today in the homework part of the lesson. So before we do any of that, we have quite a lot of comments. Um, we'll do them in a minute. Just first, I have to say, please like the video. And if you have not already, subscribe to our channel, IELTS Insider. You can also check the video description for links to our social media accounts and our website, and also our WhatsApp group for this channel. So, before we get on with the lesson, we have quite a lot of comments coming in just now. Let's have a look at those comments. So, who do we have today? We have Sigma Male, and he's saying, I had changed my plan, sir. So, now I'm going to take the IELTS test in September. So, you're going to practice a little more before you get band 8. I think that's always a wise decision. If you think you're not ready for the test, postpone it. There are so many tests available. You can take this, I think, in some locations as many times as 48 times a year. So there's lots of tests. You can, yeah, I think this is a very wise decision, Sigma Male. Neki is here. She's saying hello, everyone. Hello, Neki. And Lavanya is here and she's saying hello, James. Hello, Lavanya. And we've also got some friendly interchange between Lavanya and Neki. Very nice. Layla is here. She's saying, hi, James. How was your trip? It was very, very long. So I just arrived in Korea yesterday. So I'm quite tired just now. It was a long trip, Layla, but thank you for asking. And Layla's also saying, hi, everyone. And very important, Layla is also saying, don't forget to click the link, the like button for this live stream. Excellent, Layla. Thank you. And Mirnawati is here saying, hello, guys. There we go. Hello, Mirnawati. Where is the severe Rob? BB, I'm not sure what you mean by this question. Where is the severe Rob? I'm not sure what you mean. So if you could rephrase that, I will answer. Don't call him Rob, please. Ah, okay. You are talking about Robin, I think. Robin doesn't have a live stream today. Yeah, his name. Layla is correcting you, BB. His name is Robin. And Amin is saying, hello, everyone. I am here. Very good, Amin. Nice to see you. Oh, you're getting confused a little as well. It's James on this live stream. I think Robin was on yesterday. He'll be on again maybe on Saturday. Okay. So today the live stream is with me and Louisa saying hello, everyone. Hello, Louisa. Hi, Amin. I can hear and see. Very good, Layla. It's very important for these live streams. How's it going, King James? I hope that you have your breakfast. Well, actually, in Korea here just now, it's just a little bit after 8 o'clock. And actually, I haven't had my dinner yet. So when the live stream finishes, I'll be having some dinner. Lopez is here saying morning. Good morning to you, Lopez, watching from Haiti. Yeah. So I remember you from a previous live stream, Lopez, and you're our only student so far from Haiti. I wonder, I hope you're doing well over there. I hope the weather is good. When I arrived in Korea yesterday, there has been some very serious flooding. There's some rainstorms on Monday and Tuesday. So I hope the weather is a little bit better in Haiti, Lopez. BB is saying James is the best teacher on this planet and he is not strict like other teachers. I fear to name them. Okay. What is your favorite song, James? Well, that's a good question, BB, and it's very difficult to answer because I think my favorite song changes from time to time. Um, but one song that I always go back and listen to is Time by Pink Floyd. I really love that song. So I think that's one of my favorite songs. Time, and the band name is Pink Floyd. Jay Fry is saying, hi, Mr. James. Hi, Jay Fry. I hope you are well today. Louisa is saying hi as well. Hi, Louisa. And Layla's saying, I'm glad you had a safe trip. I need to take more rest. Yes, yes, I do. And Neki is saying, are you in Korea now? Yes, I am in Korea now, Neki. And John is saying, hi, James. I'm glad to see you today. I'm glad to see you here today, John, as well. You had a safe trip. Excellent. And Lopez is saying, thank you. It's very hot here. So in Haiti, yeah, Caribbean countries are always quite hot in the summer. But I think at least you're near the sea in Haiti. So maybe the wind can cool you down a little bit. I'm not sure exactly about the weather in Haiti, but yeah, nice and hot in the summer. Very good. So we've caught up with all of the comments today. So we're going to go on with the lesson today, which is about IELTS listening. And the things that we're going to do today are obviously going to be useful for the IELTS listening test, but they're also good for a number of listening tests. So some of the tips I'm going to give you while we are going through the practice questions are really useful if you are doing some textbook listening, TOEIC tests, basically any sort of listening. Also, they're going to help you with your general understanding of English as well. So let's go on and first of all, look at the 4 types of listening that you will be asked to do in the IELTS test. You will have 4 different listening sections. The first will be a conversation about an everyday topic, usually with 2, 3, or 4 people in the conversation. It's most commonly just 2 people, and they will be talking about, yeah, as I say, an everyday topic. And usually the questions here will be making you listen for times or places or events that are happening. The second part of the listening is a monologue. So where a conversation will have more than one person speaking, a monologue is only one person. Always one person speaking in a monologue. And again, this will be about an everyday topic. Some common things are somebody explaining services, or somebody talking about a bus timetable or something like that. The third part and the fourth part are both related to academic topics. So things that are to do with learning, maybe university lectures or conversations between lecturers and students, or a company training program or something like that. And again, one of the listenings will have a conversation about an academic topic, and the other will be a monologue about an academic topic. This would be like a university or college lecture or a training presentation. That would be the common things here. Um, in today's listening, we are going to be practicing a monologue about everyday an everyday topic. So this is what we'll practice today. In some of our future streams, we'll probably look at some monologues about academic topics, and we'll do some conversation as well. But today we'll focus on this type of listening monologue about an everyday topic. Um, in the listening part of the IELTS test, there are 6 possible types of questions. Those are multiple choice, matching, plan, map, or diagram labeling, table or chart completion, sentence completion, short answer questions. So these are the 6 possible types of question. Today, we're going to focus on 2 of those types. The first is multiple choice, and the second is matching. So, in future streams, we will look at the other types of questions, but today we're only going to focus on these 2 types of question. And we're going to practice some of these question types today. I will read the text and you will answer the questions. You can write your answers in the live chat. Now, before we do any of that, we are actually going to look at the questions in detail. I am going to try and show you what the keywords are and some techniques that you could use to maybe make it easier to find those answers in the listening. One very important technique is using alternate phrases or synonyms as well. So quite often in the test, the what you hear is not exactly the same as what is written in the question. It is quite often paraphrased. So they say the same thing in a slightly different way. So we'll be looking at how we can prepare for that on the test. So before we go on here, let's look at some of these questions. BB is saying, James, I wish to speak English like you. Is it possible? Um, I think so. Yeah, it's possible. I think when I've answered this question before, there are a lot of variables here. First of all, what your level is just now at speaking, and maybe what background you have. Also, why exactly would you like to speak like me? rather than copying what somebody else speaks like, I think it's always better to use your natural voice. These days, most people, when they speak English, don't speak it as their first language. So there are a lot of different accents out there. I think using your own accent is no problem at all. But yeah, it definitely is possible to sound like anyone. The question is, why would you really want to do that when you can practice on other parts of English? Neki is saying, are you in Seoul or another city? At the moment, I am in Incheon, Neki. So I'm beside the airport. And very good to see you are correcting yourself here with your spelling. Okay. Um, is it discuss topics like death and divorce? Um, I think it's possible that these topics could come up in the everyday section. So maybe people are making an arrangement for a funeral or something like that is possible. Personally, I have never seen these topics come up in the listening test, but it certainly is possible, but not very common at all, BB. Anna Maria is saying, hello, James. Welcome back. Thank you very much. Lopez is saying hello to Anna. Very nice. Layla is saying here, listening task needs a lot of focusing and practice. It's hard to catch what they say, especially when they speak in a fast way. Yeah, I think the main thing here, Layla, is what you've said, focus. Concentration is really important. If you zone out from the conversation and you don't pay full concentration, full attention, you're going to miss some of the answers. So, yeah, focusing is really important. And yeah, practice is really important. The more you practice these styles of listening test, the more comfortable you will feel in the exam. Therefore, you're going to perform better. So, yeah. Also, I think this is true as well, Layla. When people speak quickly, it can be a lot more difficult to catch exactly what they say. Again, practice is important. Listen to people who are speaking in a natural way, people who speak quickly. Try to tune your ears into being able to find the important information while you are listening to them. So, yeah, there are a lot of challenges that Layla has told us about here. The best way to approach these challenges is by practice. So, yeah. Okay. Can you? Yeah, maybe in the future, Robin and I will be doing some shared streams. Yeah, that's something we are thinking about doing in the next few weeks or next month or so. When I say like you, I mean native speaker. Yeah, I think it is. It's definitely possible, BB. Again, really depends on your background and the level you're at the moment. But yeah, I know a lot of people who are second language English speakers, and they are very fluent and they sound exactly like native speakers. So yes, it is possible. All right, everyone, we've caught up a little bit with our comments. So let's go on to the main part today. The first type of question we're going to look at is multiple choice. So, in this part of the exam, you're going to get some questions that will have maybe three possible answers, usually three, A, B, and C, sometimes four possible answers, A, B, C, D. But yeah, it's usually three. And what is really important here when we get the questions is to read them carefully and try to identify the key information that we should be listening for when the listening starts. So, when we're doing the listening, we usually get about 30 seconds to read the questions before the speech starts. So, that's what we're going to have a look at just now. So, here is an example question where we've got 5 questions. Each of them have 3 possible answers: A, B, or C. And then we have to quickly read those questions and think about what we should be listening for when the speech starts. So let's have a look at them. We've got here Dartfield House School used to be. So when we look at this, we are first of all thinking about the past because it used to be. Now, when we listen, we're not going to hear a sentence saying something like, Dartfield House School used to be a tourist information centre. It won't be worded like that in the listening. It will be paraphrased. So maybe it will say something like, in the past, Dartfield House was a private home. So that might be something. Or a long time ago, Dartfield House School was used as a local council building for administration. So it won't be exactly here. So we have to be prepared for some paraphrasing. So, yeah, we've got the information. So it used to be something. That means before now and is not anymore. And then we've got our 3 choices. So, tourist information centre, a private home, a local council building. Those are our choices. So, let's look at question 12 here. What is planned with regard to the lower school? So, what is planned? This is something that is going to be happening to the lower school in the future. So, again, it's not going to give you the answer clearly with the exact same wording. So, um, it says here, what is planned? So maybe they would word it in a way, in the future, the lower school will be improved. So that might happen. Or there are plans for the lower school site to be used for new residential developments. So again, we're using a lot of synonyms. So those are the things that we should be listening out for when we are looking at these kinds of questions. But what is important here is what is planned. We should be thinking straight away, this is in the future. In question 13, the catering has been changed because of. So this is going to be a reason. We are trying to make a connection between why the catering has been changed, what basically happened to cause that. So here we've got 3 possible answers: long queuing times, changes to the school timetable, or dissatisfaction with the menus. So maybe again, it could be paraphrased in a slightly different way. So when we're listening, maybe it says, people were waiting far too long, so there has to be some changes in the restaurant. So there we've said the same thing, just with a lot of use of synonyms, paraphrasing exactly the same information. So that's what we should be listening for in number 13. Number 14 is we're kind of completing this. Parents are asked to do something. So at some point in the listening, it is going to focus on the parents and maybe their interaction with the school or interaction with their own children. So we've got three choices here. They're asked to help their children to decide in advance which serving point to use, make sure their children have enough money for food, advise their children on healthy food to eat. So I think what's important here is when we hear anything using parents, our ears should start to pay attention more and think about it. What are they asking them to do? Are they asking their kids to make a decision, have enough money, or talk about healthy food? So that's how we should be approaching this question. Then, question 15. What does the speaker say about the existing canteen? So, obviously, we've got a canteen. Now, we maybe know something is planned for the future. So, what is happening to the canteen now, the one they are using now? So, either food will still be served there, only staff will have access to it, or pupils can take their food into it. So, we should be thinking about this carefully. Food being served means it is still active. There's a kind of kitchen area, we're serving food. Um, Only staff will have access to it. So we're thinking that students are not allowed. Pupils can take their food into it. Okay. Now, this word, some of you may be unfamiliar with this word. Pupils is a British English word meaning students. And it's usually used when we're talking about elementary school, middle school, or high school. So pupils is just another word for students. So those are the kinds of things that we should be looking out for. Now, Layla has just made a very interesting comment. James, the way will help us to paraphrase the questions is extensive reading before taking the exam. Well, yeah, today I am just kind of giving an example. That's when I'm going into detail. In the exam, you won't have enough time. You're only going to have 30 seconds. So you're going to have to do this very quickly. So, yes, Layla, I think reading, getting your reading skills sharpened, practicing scanning and skimming skills with your reading. I know Robin has done a lot about this in his IELTS reading videos. That is something you really need to improve so that you can read quickly and identify the key information. So that's a very, very good point, Layla. Now, something's been happening here. Okay, Necky's saying, okay, Incheon is the best place. Good, good. I am going to be the first who gets the right answer. Excellent, Amin. I look forward to that. Oh, okay. Layla is saying thank you for banning him. So BB's maybe been a little bit disrespectful to Robin. Okay, and we've got a lot of agreement. Okay, I must have missed that a little bit there. Okay, Mirnawati is saying student. Yeah, Mirnawati, when you use the word pupils, it is the same as student, except we don't use it for, in the UK, we don't use it for university or college. We only use it for students in school, primary and secondary or middle school, high school. So yeah, pupil is the same as school student. So everyone, listening part 4 is very difficult. I mean, we will be doing some practice with part 4 in a future stream. So that might be a good way for you to practice more. It is more difficult, I think, because it is an academic topic. There is academic vocabulary used. It can be quite difficult. So, what we're going to do next is listen, and you can write your answers in the chat. We have our 5 questions here. So maybe I think a good idea, everyone, is to take a screenshot of the 5 questions before we go on to do the listening. I'll give you 10 or 15 seconds to either take a screenshot on your phone or your computer so that you can look at the questions while we are listening. So hopefully that is enough time. And when you're writing your answers, just write the question. So, for example, number 11, and then your choice A, B, or C. So maybe number 11B, 12C, 13A, whatever it will be. I will give all of the correct answers in a few minutes. And then after that, I'm going to show you the text and explain why those answers are correct. But yeah, while we're doing the listening, everybody should be writing their answers in the chat. So, are you ready, everyone? I am going to be reading the text. You are going to be answering questions 11 to 15. So, here we go. Good morning, and thank you for coming here today. I'd like to bring up a date with you that changes in the school that will affect your children. As you know, the school buildings date from various times, some from the 1970s, some from the last 5 years, and of course, Dartfield House is over a century old. It was commissioned by a businessman, Neville Richards, and intended as his family home. But he died before it was completed. His heir chose to sell it to the local council, who turned it into offices. A later plan to convert it into a tourist information centre didn't come about through lack of money, and instead it formed the nucleus of this school when it opened 40 years ago. The school has grown as the local population has increased, and I can now give you some news about the lower school site, which is separated from the main site by a road. Planning permission has been granted for development of both sites. The lower school will move to new buildings that will be constructed on the main site. Developers will construct houses on the existing lower school site. Work on the new school building should start within the next few months. A more imminent change concerns the catering facilities and the canteen. The canteen is always very busy throughout the lunch period. In fact, it's often full to capacity because a lot of our pupils like the food that's on offer there. But there's only one serving point, so most pupils have to wait a considerable time to be served. This is obviously unsatisfactory. Sorry. As they may have hardly finished their lunch before afternoon lessons start. So we've had a new food hall built, and this will come into use next week. It will have several serving areas, and I'll give you more details about those in a minute. But one thing we ask you to do to help in the smooth running of the food hall is to discuss with your children each morning which type of food they want to eat that day, so they can go straight to the relevant serving point. There won't be any junk food. Everything on offer will be healthy. And there's no change to the current system of paying for lunches by topping up your child's electronic payment card online. You may be wondering what will happen to the old canteen. We'll still have tables and chairs in there, and pupils can eat food from the food hall or lunch they've brought from home. Eventually, we may use part of the canteen for storage, but first we'll see how many pupils go in there at lunchtime. Okay, so that was the listening text for the first part. So, what do you think the answers were to the 5 questions? So, I'll give you a few seconds. Let's type in some of your answers. So we've got I am ready. Good, good. So Amin is saying for number 11, the answer was B, a private home. Okay. Neki is also saying Dartfield House used to be a private home. Okay. Mirnawati is also saying a private home. All right. Does anyone else have any answers for number 11, or are we all going with the same answer, a private home? Okay. Neki is going with number 12. What is planned with regard to the lower school? She is saying this is C. Additional school buildings will be constructed on the lower school site. Okay, very good. J Fry is going for number 11B. Number 12 is C, the additional school buildings. 13 is A, long queuing times. 14, he has gone for A, help children decide and advance the serving point to use. And for 15, J Fry went for C, pupils can take their food into it. Okay. Layla is saying 11 is C, a local council building, and B, the lower site will be used for new homes. Okay. Mirnawati is going B, C, A, and C. Okay. Layla, number 13, you're going for B and then A. This is excellent, guys. We've got a lot of different questions going on here. Okay. Louisa, we've got B, C, A, B, and C. Okay. And 15, A. Okay. Neki, 13, we've got B, C for number 14. They have enough money. Okay, Layla is saying, I felt lost, but I tried to do my answers as I think they're correct. That's all you can do, really, Layla, is do your best. And you've definitely got some answers correct, so you don't need to worry about that. We'll go through a little bit later. Neki is saying C for 15. Okay. And Real Events is saying, wow, excellent. All right, excellent. Okay, now number 11, most of you were giving the answer here being B, a private home. It was, in fact, C. The answer was a local council building. Now, there might be some confusion here. So I'm just going to read the important part again for number 11. So it did mention, I did say it was commissioned by a businessman, Neville Richards, and intended as his family home. Intended. That doesn't mean it was used for that purpose. That's the purpose they wanted to use it for, but it wasn't because he died before it was completed. His heir chose to sell it to the local council, who turned it into offices. So that is giving us the answer C. It was a local council building. The local council turned it into offices. They used it for that. So it used to be a local council building. So although it was intended to be used as a private home, it never was because he had died before it was finished. So they then sold it to the local council who used it for offices. That's why C was the correct answer. Um, so that one was quite difficult. And quite often in the IELTS listening, they give you false information. They try to lead you down the path to one answer and misdirect you. That's why it's important to keep listening, even if you think you have heard the correct answer. Okay, for number 2, the correct answer was B. It will be used for new homes. So our question was, what is planned with regard to the lower school? So what I said here, the lower school will move to new buildings that will be constructed on the main site. Developers will construct houses on the existing lower school site. So the grammar here gives it away. Developers will construct. It's talking about the future, and it is on the existing lower school site. So the answer to number 2, yeah, the lower school site will be used for new homes. Okay, number 13, the catering has been changed because of. Now, I think most of you got this, but let me just read through here. The canteen is always very, very busy throughout the lunch period. In fact, it's often full to capacity because a lot of our pupils like the food that's on offer there. But there's only one serving point, so most pupils have to wait a considerable time to be served. This is obviously unsatisfactory as they may have hardly finished their food before afternoon lessons start. So, yeah, long queuing times was the answer for number 3, number 13. Okay, number 14, we had parents are asked to. So, let's see. The answer here was A. Help their children to decide in advance which serving point to use. So let me read through this again. Um, where will I start? So it'll have several serving areas, and I'll give you more details about those in a minute. But one thing we ask you to do to help in the smooth running of the food hall is to discuss with your children each morning which type of food they want to eat that day so they can go straight to the relevant serving point. So, what do we want you to talk about with your children? Well, we want you to talk about which serving point they should go to. So, the parents are asked to help their children decide which serving point to use. And then our final question, what does the speaker say about the existing canteen? So our answer for this was pupils can take their food there. The answer was C. So let's just read through that again. You may be wondering what will happen to the old canteen. We'll still have tables and chairs in there, and pupils can eat food from the food hall or lunch they've brought from home. So it's saying here the old food hall won't be used for the same purpose, but students will still be able to take their food there or take the food from the food hall and eat in there. So therefore, our answers were C, pupils can take their food there. So let us see how people are reacting to this. So Mirnawati is saying, my brain is still confused to translate, listen to, and choose the correct answers. Yep, I completely understand, Mirnawati. If you haven't been practicing a lot of listening, it can be quite overwhelming. There's so much information. One thing to remember with the IELTS listening is that everything is done in the order. So the order that you hear the questions or you hear things coming in, um, those will be the order that the questions are in. So that will maybe help you structure kind of what's going on. But it is tough. A, C, and A, you're saying Lavanya. What did we have here? Okay, 1 out of the 3 there, and 14C. Okay. Mirnawati, I just got 3 correct answers. 3 is quite good. Don't worry about it. More practice, Mirnawati. 3 becomes 4. 4 becomes 5. Yeah, the test will confuse you, Jay Fry. Yeah, that is one of the things that happens. I've got a previous live stream video talking about some tips for the listening test. And one of those tips is be aware that sometimes the the questions in the test are trying to trick you. They are giving you one piece of information and then they are maybe changing that information. Yeah, the test sometimes will try to trick you and confuse you. Um, so Layla's saying, I got 11, 13, and 14. So you're surprised, but good, Layla. So 3 out of the 5. Very good. So 11, 12, and 14. Yeah. Now you can go back again later and watch the video again, Layla, and maybe see what was the kind of problem with the 2 that you missed. But just like I said to Mirnawati, 3, very good. Let's make 3 4, and then let's make 4 5. Before you know it, you are getting perfect answers. Now, I think, Layla, if I remember correctly, when we did some listening before, you were having a lot of difficulty and I think you were getting less than kind of 3 out of 5. So there is some improvement. You're surprised, but you should be happy with that as well. Well done, Layla. Okay, so that was our first kind of listening. We are going to go on to the second type today, which is matching. Now, the listening that I'm going to use follows on from the first listening. It's going to be using a similar, the same topic and the same kind of speech. Now, these questions are a little bit different because you are given the answers and then you need to match those answers to the question. So here is an example question. So we've got 3 questions in this part, and the 3 questions are about parts of the food hall. So we've already listened to the first part where they've talked about Dartfield House being converted and so on. So we've got 3 choices: World Adventures, Street Life, and Speedy Italian. So these are all different serving points in the food hall. Here we've got comments. So we need to match these comments to the correct food hall. We would only choose one answer for each of the 3 questions. So maybe World Adventures maybe has different food every week. We have to listen. So again, this is about reading the question carefully and making sure we understand what question they want us to answer. So let's quickly read through it all. What comment does the speaker make about each of the following serving points in the food hall? Choose 3 answers from the box and write the correct letter A to D next to questions 16 to 18. So here we maybe just write one letter for each of the questions. So the comments are going to be important here. If I was doing this, this would be the part I homed in on straight away. So the comments are pupils help to plan menus. Comment B is only vegetarian food. C, different food every week. And D, daily change in menu. Now, remember, a lot of paraphrasing is going to be done when we listen. So we're not going to get these comments exactly as they are written here, but they will be similar. So pupils help to plan menus. Maybe it would say something like, the pupils are consulted each week about what they would like to eat. So that's them helping to plan menus. Maybe for B, they would say something like, there is no meat or fish served at this serving point. Well, that would mean it would be only vegetarian food. Maybe for C, they may say something like, the menu changes from week to week. Well, that is saying the same thing. It's paraphrasing. And daily change in menu. Maybe it would say something like, pupils can choose different food every day. Every day and daily are the same. So always be aware that paraphrasing is going to be used and the answers will not be exactly the same as is written in the exam paper. So what also we need to do is listen carefully for when they are speaking about each of the different serving points. When we hear the world adventures, okay, we should be homing in and trying to match the comments. Street life will be another serving point. Speedy Italian will be the third. So, again, you can write your answers in the chat. So, again, maybe 16C, 17A, 18A. Just write them like that. And again, I will give the correct answers in a few minutes and explain why those answers are correct. So, before we go on, yep, it was very difficult for me at that time. And I think through practice, Layla, you've shown improvement, which is great. Neki is saying it's too much for me. Neki, yep, I think a lot of people feel that at the beginning of when they start practicing listening. There's too much information. Believe me, the more practice that you do in these, it does become a lot easier over time. So yeah, don't worry if you're struggling a lot. It will become easier when you get used to the types of questions, when you get used to identifying keywords and so on. So yeah, don't worry about that. And Guy is saying good morning from Costa Rica. Good morning to you. Okay, so these are our questions. We're looking for world adventures, street life, speedy Italian, and we need to match the best comment for each of them. I am going to start reading now. Okay, back to the serving points in the food hall, which will all have side dishes, desserts, and drinks on sale, as well as main courses. One serving point we call World Adventures. This will serve a different country's cuisine each day, maybe Chinese one day and Lebanese the next. The menus will be planned for a week at a time, so pupils will know what's going to be available for the whole of that week. Street life is also international with food from 3 particular cultures. We'll ask pupils to make suggestions, So perhaps sometimes there will be food from Thailand, Ethiopia, and Mexico. And then one of them will be replaced by Jamaican food for a week or two. The speedy Italian serving point will cater particularly for the many pupils who don't eat meat or fish. They can be sure that all the food served there is suitable for them. There'll be plenty of variety, so they shouldn't get bored with the food. Okay, so that part was a little bit shorter, maybe a little more straight to the point. So hopefully you heard each of the different serving points and you could focus in and listen to which comment matches the best. So please write your answers in the comments for numbers 16, 17, and 18. Um, let's see. GUI is saying, "What's your basic video to start with, teacher?" I think the basic thing is starting with everyday conversation, Guy. It basically the IELTS listening just becomes more complex through each part. So the best place to start is with everyday conversations, learning to identify key information in a conversation and answering questions about that. I have shared a very useful resource on our WhatsApp group. I will put a link to that later today, Guy. And if you are a member of the WhatsApp group, you can go to that website, and that's a good place to start for practicing. Um, yeah, it starts out with very basic and moves up to more advanced. So, yeah, I will share that later in the WhatsApp group. Layla, you're saying 16 was D, so World Adventures has a daily change in menu, and 17 Street Life has different food every week. Okay. J Fry is going for 16 is D, 17 is A, pupils help to plan the menus. 18 is B, only vegetarian food. Layla is agreeing here, only vegetarian. Neki is saying 16D, daily change in menu. 17C, different food every week. And Guy is saying thanks so much. You are welcome. And Neki is saying 18 is A, pupils help to plan menus. Okay, does anyone else have any answers? Or should I go ahead and give you some answers? You're welcome for the advice, Neki. Okay. Oh, sorry. Mirnawati is saying 16 is D, daily change. 17 is A, pupils help plan menus. And 18B, only vegetarian food. Dewi is saying 18 is A, pupils help to plan the menus. All right, let's go on then. Here are our answers. 16 was D. There is a daily change in menu. 17 was A. Pupils help to plan menus. And 18 was B. Only vegetarian food. So, okay. So J Fry has made a comment here. I was getting confused in 17. Both A and C seemed likely. So I will explain in a few seconds, J Fry, why A was the correct answer and C wouldn't be correct. So let's see. What was the option for C? Different food every week. Okay, I'll remember that. Mirnawati, yay, I got it. Excellent, Mirnawati. Well done with that. So you got all three. So let's look at question 16. So the question was, we're looking for world adventures. And the answer was daily change in menu. So, what it said here, one serving point we call World Adventures. This will serve a different country's cuisine each day. Maybe Chinese one day and Lebanese the next. So, a different country's cuisine each day. So, daily change in menu. There we go. If it is different food, so cuisine, meaning the same as food, each day, meaning the same as daily. So this is showing us how it is paraphrased slightly. It will serve a different country's cuisine each day. So that means the menu will change daily. Now, Jay Fry, you were saying you thought number 17 could have been A or C. Pupils help to plan menus and different food every week. So let's have a look at that. Street life is also international with food from 3 particular cultures. We'll ask pupils to make suggestions. Okay, this is important. By the pupils making suggestions, they are helping to plan the menu. They're not doing it all by themselves, but they are helping. So perhaps sometimes there will be food from Thailand, Ethiopia, and Mexico, and then one of them will be replaced by Jamaican food for a week or two. So here it's not saying the food will be changed every week. It's saying perhaps sometimes, maybe the food will be changed every week or two. So it's not a definite answer there. But the one we know is definite is we will ask pupils to make suggestions. That one means that the students are going to help with the planning of menus. So they will make the suggestions and then the menu will be planned from those suggestions. So this one is the only one that is definite. The answer C, which was different food every week, no, it's not definite. It may be food every week because they've used perhaps, and it's changed every week or two, so it's not definite there. Okay, our third one, our answer was only vegetarian food. So the Speedy Italian serving point will cater particularly for the many pupils who don't eat meat or fish. Okay, so there, the paraphrasing again. It hasn't said vegetarian, but if you don't eat meat or fish, you are vegetarian. So there's implied meaning there. So, yeah, that's where we could find the answer for number number 18, which was only vegetarian food. So, Layla is saying I got 2 answers correct, 16 and 18, but 17 is wrong. It was unclear for me. Don't worry about that. 2 out of 3. Very, very good, Layla. You feel happy with your answers. Excellent. That's great. Lavanya, 1 out of 3. Next, 3 out of 3. I love the attitude, Lavanya. So, yep, it might be 1 today, 2 tomorrow, 3 the next time. So, more practice is what you need. Oh, perhaps it was because it stated a week or 2 instead of a week. Yes, Jay Fry. And you asked the question earlier on, are they trying to confuse you? And I said, yes. Here is another example of that. They will put phrases in that grab your attention and maybe direct you towards the wrong answer. And you've said, thanks for the clarification. You're very welcome, Jay Fry. So hopefully this has given you a kind of clearer understanding of just 2 of the types of questions, multiple choice and matching, and also basically what you need to do when approaching these questions in the test. We will be looking at some of the other question types in future live streams, like the diagram labeling, sentence completion, and so on. But I thought these two were quite important. These can be confusing, they can be quite difficult. And it's good to get experience of reading through the questions and listening to them like they would be in the exam. So, today's homework is not really a homework to test you in any sort of way. It's really a homework about getting some of your opinions so that I can use some of those opinions to kind of help prepare future live streams or future lessons. So, what I want you to do for this week's homework is to tell me what kind of listening activities you find the most difficult, or what kind of listening activities you would like to practice more. And by doing this, it can help me kind of plan things a little bit more in the future. So let's say that you find it difficult with conversations. Well, maybe we can do more conversations. Or you find sentence completion difficult, or you find labeling difficult. Or maybe you just want to practice more general listening. That's fine. So basically, the homework is just about giving your opinions to help me prepare future lessons. You can write your answers in the YouTube comment section for this video, as usual. So just below the video. Please remember, everyone, to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Um, let's see. Jay Fry is saying thanks for the clarification. No problem. Layla is saying thanks, James, for your explanation. Great. You make the IELTS exam easier, at least. Not that it was at the beginning. Yeah, I can remember, Layla, you being very nervous and panicking a lot at the beginning. And I did explain that with practice and making yourself more familiar, it does become easier with time. So I was really happy to see you getting a lot more answers correct today. Maybe you feel a bit more comfortable and a bit more relaxed with the test. That is what happens with time and practice. Excellent. I'm done to like it. Excellent, Dewi. Thank you very much. Okay, everyone, we are going to finish the live stream there today. Thank you for your input in today's lesson, everyone. I will be back on Sunday with another live stream. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your week, and I hope to see you on Sunday. All right, everyone. Bye for now.